you had a mention of Node.js in the past session. So in this session we'll cover like Node.js and WebSockets in detail, and we'll explore how Node and WebSockets are coming together to add magic to real-time web-based development. So before I start getting into the presentation, maybe I'll show you something that I hacked overnight yesterday and let you play with it. So what you see is a jigsaw puzzle on the screen, and the same jigsaw puzzle is on the phone, and I'll show you like how you can actually control the same thing using your phone, and the internet connection is very weak, as in like it's connected to a Wi-Fi through a hotspot created by my phone. So, and you can see that like as I'm just playing with it, you can see the real-time movements happening over the screen. And this is something built with Node.js and sockets. Maybe you can try. So by now you must have had an idea of what Node.js and sockets are about. It's about real-time communication between the server and the clients. So what you saw was the phone as a client, and that's another client, and the server actually in real time it communicates between the different clients. Before I begin, getting into like why Node and sockets are important, it's because the web is moving towards a more real-time and more concurrent, where like millions of users are online at the same time, and they want information fast, and they want information correct to the last millisecond. So that's where Node.js comes in, where it provides an infrastructure which allows high level of concurrency and high level of real time. So what is Node.js? How many of you hate JavaScript? So for people who hate JavaScript, you'll find a reason to actually love JavaScript. I was one of the guys who hated JavaScript. Although I was a web developer, for all my JavaScript needs, I just used to like copy paste, and I tried to prevent myself from getting involved in any kind of JavaScript code at all. But now I am into JavaScript, and I am writing JavaScript both on the server side and both as well as on the client side. So Node.js was developed by Rian Dal, who is an employee from Join. It's a command line tool which helps you to create servers, HTTP servers, TCP servers, any kind of server client infrastructure that you want to create, you can create with Node.js. And Node.js is built on Google's V8 JavaScript engine, which is known to be super fast. It's like the fastest JavaScript engine. And the main thing about Node.js is like it's event driven and it's non-blocking. So as I mentioned, the need for Node.js is because the world is moving towards more of a real-time and highly concurrent system, where like thousands of people want to avail information fast and real time. So the different features of Node.js is like it's exceptionally fast, it's highly scalable, and it's very lean. It's just written with like 8,000 lines of C++ code and 2,000 lines of JavaScript code. Node.js lets programmers write code in JavaScript on the server side, be it to create TCP servers, be it to create HTTP servers. But here mainly we'll explore how we can take Node.js to web programming. So we'll mainly be exploring how we can use for HTTP servers. So Node.js, like how is Node.js different from say a programming language like programming infrastructure like Ruby on Rails? I used to be a Rails programmer like 1 year back, and right now I use both Rails and Node.js. I'll tell you like how like what Rails is good at and what Node.js is good at. Rails is at so first I'll tell you like how they are different. So we take the example like an analogy of a bank's reception system. So assume you go to a bank and there's a long queue and there's like 2 receptionists. So one way of handling the queue is you assume like all the queue has to get like 10 minutes worth of work done, maybe like filling forms. So one way of addressing the queue is each person goes to a receptionist and he sits there, he fills the form, he does everything, which might take like 10 minutes, and after that the next person comes in. The second approach is the receptionist lets the person come in and asks what he needs to do. If there's a form to fill, she gives him the form and asks him to come back after the form is filled. And in the meantime, she is addressing the rest of the people. And once the form is filled, he comes back and she addresses him again. So this is called an event-driven mechanism, in which event-driven and non-blocking, in which the person is actually not blocking others from proceeding. So we have a similar case in the web development, where what we see is like the most of the time is taken in actually input-output, or for example like querying databases or fetching files. So while this work is being done, the server can actually address more users. So which is like the main feature for Node.js. So as I said, like input-output is the most time-taking and the most precious part of the whole server client cycle. If you see, like accessing RAM is like 250 CPU cycles, or doing a file input-output is around 40 million CPU cycles, and doing something over the network is like even more. So this is what we call blocking input-output, where what you see is like everything takes place in a series of in a sequence. So first is the database query, then you print something, then there's another database query, and then it does something. So as I said in the past, so these database queries are actually, they take a lot of time. So, and in the blocking input-output, while the database query is being made, the server actually stops, and there's like no processing happening. We'll see non-blocking input-output. So in this non-blocking input-output, this is written in a JavaScript style. There is actually no blocking. The server passes on the query to maybe a database driver, and while this database query is being made, the server can proceed to do other things. So if you see in the previous case, the time that is going to take is like the sum of A and B. In this case, it's just the maximum A and B. While the first part is being done, the second part can also be done. So if you take like traditional servers like Apache, the way they work is like the number of requests they get, they start a new thread, and the entire stack is like the entire application is actually replicated till that particular user is connected. So if you see, like threads are very expensive, and context switching between threads is also expensive. So what Node.js does is there is no threads. There's just a single process single process actually working for all the users, and it's a event-driven mechanism. As I said, like the node style is it's single-threaded. Input-output runs in parallel. So if there is a data query coming to node, it will pass on to the drivers and wait for the driver to actually call that it's finished. Till then, it will start processing other things. So this helps node to actually process thousands of concurrent connections at the same time. Now the question comes is like why JavaScript has been used to develop such a platform. It's because by the nature of JavaScript, it's single-threaded, it's asynchronous, it doesn't have native input-output functions, so it's non-blocking. And like JavaScript is like now everywhere, and where people are like familiar with it. So to develop Node.js, you do not need to learn a new language. If you have been working on JavaScript, you already know it. And with a bit of study, you can pick up Node.js pretty quickly. So we'll see a bit of code now. So this is a hello world written in a programming language in Node.js and something like PHP. So if you see, like there is a major difference in the style. What do you think will be the output for the Node.js? Sorry?
The same output. It's going to be hello world, hello stuff.
Yeah. So the output for in both cases will be hello world. So in the PHP in the case of PHP, what we see is like it's printing hello. And we want world to be printed after 2 seconds. So we put a sleep statement. But the thing about PHP is like while it sleeps, nothing else will function. The server will stop. In the case of Node.js, in the first statement it says it print world at like after 2 seconds. So it will pass it to a event loop which will call it after 2 seconds. At the same time, it will move on to the next lines. So if we do 1,000 calls to the hello world.js, it will keep processing because the server hasn't stopped. But in this case, because it's sleeping, it won't process anymore till it's all executed. We can see we can run this and we can see. So I've written a simple file, the same thing that I showed you, and I'll try executing it. So the way to run a node program is just write node and the JavaScript file name. So what you saw is like it prints hello, waits for 2 seconds, and it prints word. So this is how you program Node.js. Is like you write a JavaScript file, and you just run node and followed by the file name. So as I said, in JavaScript or in Node.js, there's like sleep is not allowed, or like anything that's blocking is not allowed. So we had a simple hello world program. Now we'll see how we can create a HTTP server. So Node.js actually allows you to create your own servers instead of in Ruby or like Rails or PHP. You use like a pre-built server like Apache. Here it's like you create your own servers. You can configure it to the fullest, and it's the server is written in C++. So you can like write even native C++ add-ons to work with Node.js. And you do Node.js programming in JavaScript. So this is a simple server. What you see is we are calling the HTTP module from Node.js. We are creating a server, and the server is listening at port 8000. So we'll try running this. So our server is running now. So in this console, I tried to fetch the page, and you can see like I got the HTML header and the HTML content. So if you see the first line, it says Node follows HTTP 1.1. The connection says keep alive. So with previous versions of HTTP, what used to happen is HTTP used to be stateless. So the moment a client's request is served, the HTTP connection is closed. So you cannot follow up with other things. The server cannot send anything back to the client again till the client actually requests for further things. In HTTP 1.1, it's possible for the server to actually send something back to the client after the request is served. And you see the transfer encoding, it says chunk. What that means is the server can actually send data to the client in a way like streaming. So it can send data in pieces instead of waiting for the whole thing to be sent. And the browser can proxy all this data. So we'll run another slightly a different version. We can run the we can open the page from the browser and also see how. So it prints the same hello world. So in server2.js, what we are trying to do is we are sending world first, and we are sending hello after 6 seconds. or I can make it to say 2 seconds. So what you saw is like the first content is transferred, then the second content is transferred after 2 seconds, and it's proxied by the browser, and then it's displayed here. So Node.js has provides several modules. It provides a file system module which allows you to access and read-write files. It provides a HTTP module which allows you to create servers. It also provides TCP module where you can create TCP servers, TCP client and server. Now the question comes is since Node.js is so lean, are we supposed to create the entire thing as what we saw in the previous example was we created our own server, but to manage the different complicated things, are we supposed to write our own code? People have the community has developed a module called Express, which actually takes care of most of the common things. Express can be installed using something called npm, which is Node Package Manager. And it will take care of most of the usual things. Once you install Express, the way to create a project is you just write Express project name. And it will create your entire file structure. It will create your initial app.js, which is the main server file through which it starts. It will create some of the initial views, and it will create some style sheets. We can see the code structure. So this is the file structure created by Express. It creates your server. It does some initial configuration for your server. It provides routes. It listens at port 3000. And if you go inside routes, if you go here, it says it allows the index to be routed, and the actual code that you want to send through the response can be written here, and the view files can be put here, and it allows you to use different templating engines like EJS, Jade. So now the question comes when should you use Node.js? So Node.js, as you see, the value add is a high level of concurrency. It can be used for mostly real-time stuff. So what you see is it can be used to create real-time apps, maybe online games, for applications that need streaming of data, for applications that have a higher level of collaboration. Where, as you saw, the mobile device could actually collaborate with the screen. So it could be, for example, you want to design a audience voting tool, or you want to create a online, say something like Google Docs or something like Google Spreadsheet. So Node.js will actually be very handy in that case, where tiny bits of data is being transferred, and it's not very CPU intensive. And you need real time information. So here are a few links that can help you get started. So one of the key things is like Node.js is right now mainly, if you need to program Node.js, it's mainly through a Linux machine or maybe Mac. Windows support, there are a few hacks, but it's not officially supported yet. And for downloading packages, there is something called npm Node Package Manager, which will help you download and install most of the packages that you need for Node. There are several companies that provide Node platform as a service, including Heroku, which is like recently providing Node.js support. Even Microsoft has started providing Node.js support on their Azure platform. So we covered like bit of Node.js. Does like anyone have any questions before we move to socket.io? Any questions? Okay. So what we saw is Node.js actually allows you to create servers. It allows you to use JavaScript to write server-side infrastructure, and it provides like higher level of concurrency. What WebSockets allow you to do is they provide a very good mechanism for the server and the client to communicate. So as I said in previous HTTP protocol, in the older HTTP protocol, it was always that the client actually requested for something from the server. The server used to send it and stop. Then the client requests again, and the server sends something back. Now with WebSockets, what it enables you to do is the client and the server can actually communicate real time and continuously. So why do we need such real-time communication? If you see, the world is moving towards the real-time, and if you see like Facebook, you can see like earlier, like 2 years back, we used to use Facebook and like keep refreshing it till for getting the new data. Now we see like whenever there is any update, it actually comes down to the wall itself. Twitter also, if you open the Twitter page, you can see the moment there's any update, it actually streams down to your page. So all this kind of, if you want to build an application like this, where you want to provide the consumer or the user with the ability to have real-time data without having to refresh, sockets actually would be very relevant there. So as I said, like this was the earlier HTTP protocol where the client sends a request and the server sends a response, and the server can't send anything in it. So some part of real-time effect was like used through Ajax polling, in which what we do is like we make an Ajax request. We keep making an Ajax request to find if the server has any update, and the moment the server has any update, it actually sends. So the disadvantage of this method for real-time applications is you bombard the server, keep bombarding the server. For example, like if Facebook were to use Ajax polling for its real-time mechanism, what would happen is the millions of users who have a browser open, the browsers would keep sending requests to Facebook to check if there is any updates, and like this will hang the Facebook servers. So what we need is a mechanism in which the server can actually send updates to the client when there is any update. There's no need for the client to actually keep checking the servers. So there was like another method through which real-time interaction was achieved. It's called long polling. In long polling, what happens is the client makes a request, but the server actually doesn't stop the request at all. Doesn't do an end to the request. It sends some data, and it doesn't do a stop. So basically, a connection is built between the client and the server. The disadvantage of this is like if there's millions of users, then like millions of connections will be created between the users and the servers. So this is like a very expensive thing. So what sockets enable to do is it provides a very convenient way to enable connection between the server and the clients. And like whenever the client wants, the client sends something to the server, and whenever the server wants, the server actually sends something to the clients. So as I said, like there are like various ways of achieving real-time communication. We discussed Ajax polling, Ajax streaming. We'll come over to WebSockets. So socket.io, so WebSockets is something which is provided by HTTP, which allows like live connection between the client and the server, and anyone can initiate a communication. Socket.io is a JavaScript library built on top of WebSockets. So if your server doesn't support, if your browsers do not support WebSockets, then Socket.io will actually fall back to any of these other methods. So what Socket.io will try to do is, it will try to initiate a communication through WebSockets, which is the best. If for any reason WebSockets cannot be supported, it's not supported on the browser on the server side, it will fall back to any of the other methods depending on a preference that you decide. So we'll see some of the Socket.io code. So the site to visit if you want to, and it's pretty well documented, is socket.io. So what you see is there's a bit of server-side code and there's client-side code. The server-side code is written in Node.js. So it imports the library socket.io. It makes the server listen at port 80. And it's all event-driven mechanism. So what the server side says is, on connection, when any client connects, do this. Similarly, if you see on the client side, it says it tries to connect to localhost through the socket mechanism, and it says socket.on news, do this. So basically, the communication, like the events are defined. So here, like news is an event. So when the server sends emits an event called news, the client it's defined what it has to do. So similarly, the client emits my other event, and the server knows what to do if that event comes. So you can like define events on the client side, on the server side. And when when any of that event is emitted by the other party, the second party has a function to execute in that case. So we'll see like what are the various options provided by socket.io. So this is what I discussed now. We'll maybe try to run this and see how it works. So maybe we'll try a fresh project. So what you see is like I'm using npm to install most of my libraries. So npm is the node package manager through which you can install most of the modules and libraries that you want. So the file structure will be something like this, and this is the main server file. So here what we can do is, this is the bit of the code which defines how sockets connect to the server. How sockets connect to the server, and here you can define events that will get executed when the client connects. So what this bit of code says is like on connection, send news, send this event called news to the client. So we'll run this. So it says like the socket server has started. So what you saw is like, so there was a pop-up alert saying world. I'll show you like the client-side code as well. So what I've written here is like on receiving news alert data.hello. So basically once it receives the news message from the server side, what this will try to do is it will send an alert. So I'll show you like it's trying to connect again, and like this is a message which was sent by the server. You can also write like client-side code where you can define functions here, and you can use something like socket.emit so to communicate with the server. If you visit the socket.io page, they actually provide different mechanisms in which you can like send different kind of messages, have different kind of communication between the server and the clients. You could the server actually maintains a pool of clients that is connected, and you can broadcast it to all the clients. You can find out which client to send something to. Yep, I think we are done. So, like, do you have any questions that you would like to ask? Okay, thanks.